Hi everyone, my name is Roxana and today I want to talk about the theory of second language acquisition. So first of all, what is a second language acquisition (SLA)? Second language acquisition is when we acquire or pick up a second language. You know it in a context. What is a second language? Second language is not just a foreign language. No, second language is a language in which we interact with it. For example, when you're in China, English is a second language because many people speaking English. French in Canada is a second language because many people speak French, and it's usually that you are in your house and someone wants to ask you for something and they do it in French. So uh, we can start this with the claims. Okay, what do we need in second language? What do we have to take into account when we are teaching a second language? This is as a teachers. Okay, so we have to know that first of all, everything can acquire as everyone can acquire a second language. Doesn't matter if they are adults, doesn't matter if you are old, doesn't matter if you are young, doesn't matter. Everyone can do this. So this is the first. Second is that when you're teaching a second language, it's more than grammars and rules because we know that they have a communicative component. Their language is to communicate something that we want to say to another people. So for that reason, when you are teaching a second language, it's more than grammar and structure. The past tense and subject plus verb plus object plus component is more than that. The third thing is learners create an interlanguage. When you are a learner, you usually create a system, an interlanguage system in which you combine the first language and the second language and how you associate it in the same sentence, in the same context. Okay, so when we are talking about we can this text that H. Douglas say that we have three models. We have the innativist model, the cognitivist model, and the constructivist models. First of all, we know that innativist model it work with the biological uh, components of speaker, of a learner, that we can develop the language because we have the biological components to do it. Okay, so for that reason, with someone crashing work with the input hypothesis. He he said that there could be five interrelative hypotheses. First of all, the acquisition learning hypothesis that this talk about how we acquire or how we learn a second language. There are two different meanings, two different words in this: acquire and learn. Okay, acquire is when you are in the context when you are in contact with that second language. Learner as that you did don't you you are not in so contact with that second language. We have the affective filter that I say that I think that this could be the two important hypotheses because say that you develop like is something like a relationship between the language that you are acquiring or you are learning and your first language. You have to motivate. Okay, what motivate me to to learn or acquire the language, the context and the needed, the is for studies, for work, doesn't matter. In the build, cognitive model, we know here they talk about the mental process. We know that in child and in adults, the mental process is not the same. It's different because there is a mental process, a cognitive process that there is in in the process of second language acquisition. So we know that here they talk about two models, the attention processing models and implicit and explicit models. This model is about how you control your develop your develop how you acquire a second language, that say that this could be conscious and unconscious, automatically and unautomatically. For example, when you are in the context, when you are in contact with the language, you can say, okay, I want this, I heard this, because you're a kid, you are developing, you are acquiring. But if you're an adult, you are learning. So that's two different processes. But we have to take into account the social. The social started with the constructivism model, because it say that the context is important to develop a second language. For that reason, when you are teaching that, you have to develop the best context for your student to learn that language. Okay, and you know that as a teacher um, you can use all of this model and you create a new model, because this depends of the needs of the students. Doesn't depend, okay, this how to say, no, it's about you, what you observe in your pedagogical research. What do you need? What happened with your students? So that's all. Thank you so much.